Good morning. It's kind of late morning, but I've already had a couple of cups of coffee, so that's not such a bad deal. It's Saturday, and Saturday's a great day for breakfast. Every day, frankly, is a great day for breakfast, and I rarely have a day go by that I don't have breakfast. And this is the breakfast that I normally will make for myself pretty much every day. It's going to be kind of a garbage omelet, and I do have a tendency to overstuff my omelets. But it's a great breakfast. I really enjoy it, and I hope you will too. Let's go. As with many good things in life, this breakfast is going to start with bread. And this is bread that I actually made. And when it comes time to bake bread again, I'll show you how to make it. But this is a sourdough flavored loaf that I use the discards. I don't often leaven with sourdough because it just takes too long. I just use yeast and call it a good job. But to give it this dark color, there's bread flour, whole wheat flour, cocoa powder, and coffee. All goes into this bread, and it really is, it tastes so good. So we're just going to cut off a little slice of bread like that, just one slice of bread for toast in the morning, and that's pretty much all you need. That'll go in the toaster. Be right back. Now it's time for the eggs. I'm going to use one jumbo chicken egg that they're sometimes kind of hard to find. I've only found one local grocery store that has jumbo eggs. And then, because I had a doctor once chastise me about cholesterol, instead of 2 eggs, I've got just a 1/4 cup of egg substitute. And so I'll put that in there. From there, season. I put turmeric in my scrambled eggs. And it's not for color, but it is for health benefits. Turmeric supposedly has some really nice health benefits, so I'll put a little of that in there, along with some fresh cracked pepper, which is supposed to make the turmeric more effective. I don't know if any of that's true, but it's not going to kill me, let's put it that way. And then we're going to go for some of the brown butter and garlic, just a little. And this is an umami mushroom seasoning, and just a little of that as well. All that goes in there. Now, before we do anything else with that, I have a scallion that I will kind of trim off some of the uglier parts of that and take the end of it like so. And then I'm just going to take the green part of the scallion, or green onion if you prefer, and do that. The rest of that will go in the actual omelet. So we'll get that in there like that. And then I'm going to take a few chives, and we'll do kind of the same thing. These chives are starting to show their age a little bit, but they'll be fine for now. Chives don't last very long, unfortunately. And these are just about at the end of their life. But there's another little piece that needs to go. Okay, so now we'll get these, and we'll get some chive like this. What this is going to do is when you actually cook the omelet part of it, all that's going to show up, and it makes for a really attractive omelet. So all of that goes right in there. I know that there are purists out there who are just cringing at the way I do this, but quite frankly, I'm eating it, and this is the way I like it. So here we go. I showed you this in a previous video. I saw one of these advertised online, and they wanted way too much money for it. And I was walking through a grocery store, and there was a 2-pack for less than the single one was on Amazon. So I bought it. I don't use the larger one very often, but that is a really effective way to scramble up some eggs. Okay, that's going off to the side, and we'll start with the rest of this mise en place. Let's start with a little ham. This is just some leftover ham that I had in the freezer that I thawed out recently because it was taking up room, and I said I just need to use that up, so I've been putting it in omelets. So we'll get a little ham, and we'll just give that kind of a pretty fine dice, like that. A mushroom, because life is better with mushrooms. And I'll get those, give it a coarse chop. They're going to really shrink down quite a bit as the cooking process goes. That'll be good enough. And all of this is going to go in at the same time. I have a little sweet pepper, and I buy these seedless ones, which really kind of speeds up the process. This is something that I learned watching Jet Tila on Ready Jet Cook, and it's ribs like this, and then dice. I don't have Jet's knife skills by anybody's stretch of the imagination, but gets the job done. Now we'll get the rest of this scallion. Just try and make nice little uniform pieces. Like that. And finally, one asparagus spear. And we'll do kind of the same thing with that. So we've got all that ready to go. Set that over there. And now, because what's an omelet without cheese, I'm going to make some cheese. I'm not going to make some cheese, I'm going to measure out some cheese. I only usually use about a half an ounce of cheese, and part of that's for the cholesterol thing as well, part of it's for the calories. It allows me to have some cheese flavor. It's not the real ooey gooey kind of cheesiness that everybody likes in an omelet, but we're just going to put about there we go, half an ounce on the dot, first try. That's pretty satisfying. So there's that, and one final thing will be spinach. And there's not a lot of spinach left in there, so I'm just going to go ahead and use all of that, use it up, because that's something else that has a tendency to go off fairly quickly. And we'll just give that a chop like that, because as you know, spinach is going to cook way down. Okay, there is the mise en place for the omelet. It's time to get cooking. Okay, so I have preheated my skillet, and kind of the way you test to see about its heat level is just drop a little water in there, and if you see those beads of water roll around like that, like they're ball bearings in the skillet, you're at the right spot. I'm going to use this olive oil cooking spray, and again, part of that is just for the fewer calories that go in there, not quite as much as if you actually just put the olive oil in there, and then everything, the ham, the onion, pepper, mushroom, all of that goes into the skillet at the same time. Give that a rinse out, don't need that anymore. If you're worried about the stainless steel skillet, you shouldn't be. This is garlic butter flavored seasoning. Let's throw a little of that in there. And none of this has to cook very long. It just has to get hot through and soften up a little bit, because it's going to be sitting for long enough that it'll all get softened up with carryover. Just want to get it hot through and reasonably soft. Okay, I've got the veg and ham about the point where I want them, with the exception of the spinach. So we're going to throw the spinach in on top of all that. Make sure we got it all. Season this with a little of this buttery garlic and herb stuff that I like so well. I use this on a lot of things. And now we do go to a spatula. And as the spinach starts to wilt, it's time to turn the toast on. The only toast I have is a toaster oven, so that takes a little bit longer maybe than your standard issue toaster. So the spinach is just about cooked down. Grab a little plate, which is what I'm going to serve on eventually. And put all of this over to the side. As I said, I have a tendency to overstuff my omelets. I'm going to wash this skillet to make sure the eggs don't stick. And again, in that configuration, comes out nice and clean and ready for the next step. Okay, with a clean skillet, and let's just check that temperature again. And yep, we have little ball bearings in the bottom of the skillet. So let's go back to a little bit more of the olive oil spray. And then I'm going to supplement that with some butter flavored spray. That one's empty. I had a feeling that one was about empty. So there we go. Let's get that nice and coated in there. And it is time to introduce the eggs to the pan. I'm at about really exactly medium heat, and I'm just going to throw those in there like that. And this is where some of the blasphemy comes in, but I'm not going to do anything with that but cover it. And I'm going to set a timer for 35 seconds and just let that go. 35 seconds have elapsed. I'm going to move that off the heat, set the timer for 35 seconds again, and let it go. Okay, we're about at the end of this process. It's been 2 cycles on the heat, 2 cycles off the heat, 35 seconds each. I'm coming back here for another 35 seconds, but I've turned the heat off on this particular electric cooktop. If you're using gas, you might not want to do that because it would turn the heat completely off, but there's enough residual heat in that burner that it's going to continue to cook the eggs. And now we'll see if I have been able to do this in such a way that the eggs have not stuck to the bottom of the pan. So that 35 seconds has passed and my eggs are not stuck in the least. I do love it when a plan comes together. So I'm just going to turn that over. Now, a lot of people would say, oh, gee, your eggs are overdone. And, well, they might feel that way, but they also didn't stick to the bottom of the pan. So there's the cheese. I'll put the filling back on top of there, which will get the cheese melting. we'll take this and fold it over. Remember how I said you'd see the chives and the green onions all kind of mixed up in the eggs and how pretty that looks? And that is very pretty. One final thing, as we set that off to the side, is the toast. My toast is out of the toaster. Doesn't that look like a delightful piece of toast? If you saw my butter video, you know that I've made that butter. And we're just going to put a little butter on the toast, like that. Maybe just a wee dab more. And then we'll cut that in half. That'll go on the plate, and it's time for breakfast. So here we go. That is the omelet that I make for myself almost every day. And it's a really, really good breakfast, in my humble opinion. Takes a little time, and yeah, it's a little, maybe slightly complicated, but the thing that I would like to be able to convey to you is that you can put almost anything in an omelet, and your eggs don't have to stick. So I hope you'll give it a try. And now, like I said, I've got my coffee. It's Saturday morning, and and I'm hungry. Enjoy your weekend, everybody.